How's it going, folks? Nick here with a little bit of a wet butt. It just rained. That's all right. Otto the garden cat's just behind me. He's my co-host, or some of you guys say that he's actually the host and I'm the co-host. So anyway, this is the Tieto Permaculture vlog. Out here today to check on the compost pile, just do the daily homestead chores, etc. Not too much going on right now. I do want to say though that it is my anniversary with my lady, Katie. And we're now at 5 years. We met way back in Rome about 8 or 9 years ago, I think. And we were both working on cruise ships at the time, funny enough. And yeah, about 5 years ago, we met up and decided that we wanted to try to make this a thing. And 5 years later, here we are. So I'm very grateful to have Katie in my life. And Katie, if you're watching, I love you so much. And I'm really grateful to have you in my life. And thank you for supporting me and doing what I'm doing here on these vlogs and everything else we're doing in the backyard and life and living in Puerto Rico and all those things. So apparently the roosters and the chickens are agreeing with me, so I better go check on them. Let's get started. Otto's off to hunt. Let him do our thing. So that column was actually one of the twins, so maybe the twins are thinking about laying eggs now. That's usually the sound to hear around when one of them wants to lay an egg or just laid an egg. Yeah, look at that. That's one of the twins crawling into the egg box area. She's probably really pissed because Henry was in here a second ago. And she was probably pissed that Henry was taking up her spot. So she was making a ruckus. So I'm just going to leave her alone because hopefully that means we're going to start getting eggs, more eggs than we have been. Henry and one of the mamas here. Henry? I think, Henry, you were just in the way. That's why she was so mad. You're in the way. Yeah. Oh my word. What's going on down here? Look at this. My compost thermometer strewn on the floor. The compost completely destroyed. No, definitely gonna go ahead and guess that this compost pile is not hot enough, because it doesn't have any sort of mass at this point because the chickens have spread it out so much. On the plus side, the chickens are spreading it out, which means it has to be somewhat of an active pile because they're only really interested in piles that are active and have growth and little microbes and all the little insects crawling through them. So this is both a good sign and a bad sign. Bad sign in that it is unlikely that I'm ever going to get a complete pile out of this unless I exclude the chickens from the pile itself, right? So that's always a possibility. I don't need to include the pile in my chicken system here. I like to do that because the chickens take care of everything for me. They spread it and everything. Right now what they're doing is aerating. You can see everyone's interested in this pile. Everyone wants a piece of it. There's lots going on here. Yesterday I filled up this feed tray right here halfway full with feed, and look at that, we're still at just about halfway full, little bit eaten. But what that's telling me is obviously we give them food scraps every day, so they ate some of the food scraps, but typically on a regular day this has been eaten almost all the way down. That is when I don't have a compost pile in here. So the compost right now, I believe, because I didn't let them out yesterday, is basically serving a major part of their food source, and it's going to be a really good food source, a healthy food source, because they're scratching looking for it. They're finding the little critters in there that they really like, the ideal stuff they want, high protein, and they all seem super happy, super healthy. So really happy to see that. A little less happy about my compost pile being completely destroyed in 2 days. I just turned it 2 days ago. I do have a video of me turning it. I'm just going to roll that in fast motion real quick. So it started up the hill, so I first had to just obviously clear everything, get everything ready, and then just start turning it. In the center of the pile, I actually added a little bit of the leftovers of the manure that I had collected. It was all the horse manure that was old, so I didn't really expect it to be a super hot kind of manure, but I just wanted to add a little bit of extra nitrogen into the center of the pile because we did have some problems getting this pile to heat up. If you didn't see my video before of my compost pile wouldn't heat up, I'll leave that linked above. So we were having issues with getting it to heat up. I finally did get it to heat up. It went up to 140. It stayed at 140 for 3 days. So that's what I wanted. And then I would ideally turn the pile and then it would go right back up to 140. What happened was when I turned the pile, it actually only stayed, it didn't even get up above 120, which tells me it's not active, which is very confusing. This has been a really confusing pile for me, this one. So I'm really interested to see. I mean, obviously the chickens are happy with it, so that means that there's at least some sort of activity going on there. I can see the activity every time I turn it. I see worms and everything. That's not as common in the tropics to see worms all over the place. So I've seen worms. I know that it's a decent compost pile, but I'm just not able to get it to heat up and stay heated up. But remember, if you're trying to do hot compost, you're likely trying to have no weed seeds in it, no pathogens in it, etc. Because I'm integrating this this system with my chickens, there's inevitably going to be, you know, some excess manure, some stuff that they drop in that didn't get processed, etc. So I'm a little less worried about making sure that my compost pile is like perfect. Obviously that's ideal, that's what I want. But I'm not excluding the chickens from it for a day, which is, you know, something you could do in here, just to make sure that the pile heats up and stays at temperature, etc. That's an option. But in reality, I have plenty of compost right now. I had just composted everything or added compost to all my beds. So I'm okay if this takes a little bit longer. The key with compost is if you don't get it to hot enough long enough and get all parts of that pile in the center, then you just don't know if you got rid of all the weed seeds, if you got rid of all the pathogens, etc. So what I'm going to do instead is just allow this to basically compost over about, you know, 3 to 5 weeks. With the chickens constantly interacting with it, and by the end of that we're going to have finished compost, right? But it may still have weed seeds in it, it may still have a little bit of leftover residues in it, it may have some sort of negative microorganisms in there, but somehow I doubt it. Mostly the aerobic organisms will outcompete over time, one way or the other. So we're going to basically, I'm going to repile this pile right now. I guess before I start, here's this mama. She came out, so she might not be laying an egg, but I think she's starting to think about the daily egg laying routine. She's looking like she's a little bit of a stoic right now. Look at her, just sitting there looking around like she owns the place. She might be thinking about, oh wait, am I supposed to go in there? Look at her, she's kind of like constantly looking back at that egg box. So I don't know, we'll see if we end up getting more eggs soon. That's the hope. So as always, I'm going to put the center of the pile at the bottom, or really pretty much anything that's right here is going to be what I would consider the center. It's the part that would have been the center, but is exposed now. That's one way to wake you up in the morning and get your heart going and get you sweating and warmed up if you need to warm up, especially in the colder climates. Here in the tropics, while it is cool here in the morning, it's not cool enough to ever say that I really need to warm up. So yeah, here's the compost pile turned. You'll notice at the beginning I kept trying to widen it out to make sure that I didn't have too narrow of a peak, and I still ended up having too narrow of a peak because I didn't widen it the entire time. So you can see there's the full pile. The chickens are already kind of interested in what I just did. They were pretty much scratching the whole time I was working whenever I wasn't too on top of them. So I just put the thermometer back in. You can see right now it's reading just over 80 or just under 30 degrees Celsius. I expect that that'll go up. I don't know how high it's going to go up. I really do hope it goes up to about 120. But really it's just going to depend on how fast the chickens destroyed again. So yeah, the whole time I was turning it, I was seeing worms and a couple little critters crawling around. That's exactly what the chickens are looking for. So this was going to work great as a chicken feed for me, even if it doesn't end up producing the most high quality of compost. It'll be just fine for me, and the chickens are going to love it. Henry? I think this is the mama that was trying to lay, but she's out now. And one of the regular mamas is in her little coop area now. Hey mama, Have a good egg laying session. Oh, look at that. The new mama just did lay an egg. Wow. That's awesome. Congratulations. Congratulations, you guys. You get rewarded with a fresh compost pile. I forget which one it was. I think it was this one. But either way, congratulations on laying your first egg, or at least the first one I know of. And you see that right away, they're attacking this pile. They're looking all over for everything. They love it. It's keeping them active. It's keeping them healthy. It's giving them good food to eat, high protein food. And check that out right down there. That's where I just turned. They're going to be down there probably for a couple hours today, scratching around looking for the things that were left behind. That's what I like to see. Happy chickens, active chickens. And you know, if the compost suffers a little bit, that's okay. Integrating these systems, you have your trade-offs, but I think this is a good one. I love to see my happy chickens with this chicken composting system. Here's Otto. He's been exploring the whole time I was in there. Good boy. You having fun? You having fun? He's been very playful this morning. He's wanted to play non-stop. First time I saw him, he just rolled over and was instantly wanting for me to kind of put my palm in there and I kind of shake him. He loves that. But yeah, he's a good boy. Good boy, Otto. Yeah. All right, well, from here, I'm just kind of looking around, seeing what's going on. I see the arugula has really taken off. We've actually gotten a decent amount of rain. Let me actually check the rain gauge real quick. 2 days ago, we got an inch of rain. And then today, it looks like it's, let's see, just over 0.55 inches it looks like to me. About 14 mil. So that's actually quite a bit of rain the past few days. It's good because we actually had a good solid week with pretty much no rain at all. So happy to have the rain again. Helps all the little baby plants that I have in the ground hopefully make it to fruition. We got fingers crossed. Always fingers crossed, right? Just gonna check in down here real quick. Looks like the chayote fell off its little trellis there. Not sure what happened there. I think I'll try to correct that really quickly. Other than that, these winged beans seem to be doing their thing. These two right here, or these three really, there's one here and two over there. They seem to be doing well. These Asian greens are starting to get to the point where they look like real Asian greens. I'll be able to harvest these, I think, in a couple weeks actually, because I think most of these that actually took and started growing are the 25-day variety, just based on how they look. So yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty quick harvest. And in the back there, you can see all those little, let's see if I'll zoom in a little bit for you guys. All these guys right here, you see, I believe that's all amaranth, because I seeded amaranth all throughout this bed, and they all took right in the mulch itself is where they took. So there's some more right up there, right below that kind of stake there. That whole area was a bunch of amaranth seedlings coming up. So I haven't actually grown amaranth yet. Right down here too. Yeah, so I haven't actually grown amaranth yet, so I don't actually know what it's supposed to look like when it's fully grown. So I haven't looked it up or anything. I can easily do that. I just haven't done it yet. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of see where it goes. So far, so good. I'm just gonna open this up real quick and put that chayote back on its trellis, or at least kind of help guide it there. I'm actually just gonna leave these little blocks that hold down the bottom there. I'm just gonna leave them on so I don't have to take the whole thing off. Kind of rough job, but I just wrapped it around this trellis once, and I'll just kind of allow it to do the rest of it. I don't really want to bother it too much. I want it to do its own thing, but I did notice it was kind of growing up the trellis and just kind of fell down. So it might have just been all the rain it got. It might have just kind of slipped down. So hopefully that will help it move on its way. There are a couple things in here I don't really want that and everything, but I'm going to try not to disturb the soil too much until everything kind of gets a little bit better of a foothold. That way I don't have to worry about me causing any accidental damage to the things I want to be growing. So just going to get a little bit more time before I start doing any sort of pruning or cleaning up in there. And then last little check I wanted to do is on this little bed here. This is kind of the newest thing I planted, And so far so good. We got a bunch of Asian greens coming up right here. That's exactly what I seeded there. The tomatoes back here, they're both doing well. And then all the basil run along these kind of 2 lines there, they're doing well. There is some Asian greens in between as planned, right? You can kind of see all those little babies coming up. And the celery is actually doing quite well. I was actually pretty happy with it. One of them was kind of a sad thing to begin with, and I think that one died back, but the rest of them seem to be doing pretty well, and makes sense because it has been pretty cool here. So it's pretty, I mean, it's usually cooler here in the wintertime, but it's especially kind of a cooler season right now, and that's kind of what those kind of crops like. So it is the time to grow them, so hopefully we'll actually get some sort of yield there, and which should be really fun because I don't think I've ever actually grown celery. I've seen it grown, I've worked on farms where it's grown, but I haven't personally grown celery, so I'm really excited just to kind of see, actually have a crop of that. We'll see if I actually get there or not. My little gutter system that isn't quite connected yet, I just have it collecting into a bucket, but you can see that bucket filled up, and I use this for watering at this point, which is pretty cool. Rainwater watering, something I don't have to pay for, so that's always a benefit. All right, guys, that's it for me today. Hope you do enjoy. If you do like what I'm doing, please subscribe to the channel. I'm over 325 subscribers now, which is just amazing. Thank you so much for my community and to all you guys for watching this, and whoever's watching this right now, thank you for watching, and consider subscribing if you do like what I'm doing. And please share these videos. Share this one, share another one that you find helpful to you, or maybe would be helpful to your community. I'd love to have those shared and get the word out there. That really helps me kind of get more eyes on the videos, and that's really what it's all about. So I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for everything you do, and until next time, have a good one.